All right, we just finished finding the slope in number 4, and we decided that the slope was 2, and we were going to have to find the y-intercept the old-fashioned way. So we're going to pick one of these points, and we're going to use the x and the y coordinates of that point along with the m value of our slope to determine what b is. I'm going to pick this point right here, 8, 1, because they're both positive numbers and it just seems easier to me. And I remember this is x and this is y. Take this y value, which is 1, and plug it in here. My slope is 2. My x value is 8. We're going to multiply 2 and 8 and then add b. Okay, I'm going to simplify. 2 times 8 is 16 plus b. Now I need to get b alone. So I'm going to get rid of 16 by using the inverse, which is negative 16. If I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side. Now I'm going to combine all this. Positive 16 and negative 16 combine. They cancel out. That leaves b over here. Now be really careful here. You have 1 positive and 16 negatives. This 1 positive is going to take one of these negatives and cancel it out. And if one of these negatives gets canceled out with a positive, you're going to have 15 negatives left over. And there's your b. So your equation will be y equals slope times x. You can either say minus 15 or you can say 2x plus negative 15. Either answer is correct. All right, let's look at number 5. Write the equation of the line that passes through the points in the table. So we can figure out the slope. Okay, we need slope and y-intercept to write our equation. So let's look for slope first, and I can get the slope by picking any 2 points and either looking for the change in x over the change in y or doing the formula. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And it seems to me in class most of you prefer the formula. So I'm going to go ahead and use the formula. So I have to pick 2 of the points from here, and I'm going to pick any 2. And I'm going to stick with the numbers that don't have negatives just because I think it's simpler. So x is 2, y is 4, and x is 3, y is 5. Any 2 points will work. And I'm going to label them x and y, and x and y. So we're going to call this point 1, x1, y1, point 2, x2, y2. And I'm going to plug these numbers into my slope formula. So y sub 2 is equal to 5. And I'm going to subtract y sub 1, which is 4. And in my denominator, x sub 2 is 3. I'm going to subtract x sub 1, which is 2. 5 positives and 4 negatives. I'm going to have 1 positive left over. 3 positives and 2 negatives. I'm going to have 1 positive left over. 1 over 1 equals 1, and that's my slope. Now sometimes I get lucky and I see my y-intercept up here. If x is 0, that's going to give me my y-intercept, but I don't see a 0 for x, just y. So my y-intercept is not one of these points, so I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Y equals mx plus b. I need b, and I don't know what it is, but I know what m is, and I can take an x and a y value from my table and plug them in here. So if I use the point 2, 4, this is x, this is y. Y is 4 equals Slope is 1 times x, which is 2, plus b. I'm going to simplify here. This is 2 plus b equals 4. I want to get b alone. The inverse of positive 2 is negative 2 on both sides of my equation. We're going to combine all this. These cancel out. I'm left with b equals 4 positives and 2 negatives gives me 2 positives. So I know my slope is 1, my y-intercept is 2, my equation is 1x plus 2, and 1x is just x, so if you want to write it x plus 2, that is perfectly fabulous. Either one of these would be considered a correct answer. Okay, number 6. Write the equation of the line that passes through the points in the table. Well, again, if I'm going to write an equation, I need a slope and a y-intercept. So I'm going to find a slope using the formula or using change in y's over change in x's. We're just going to stick with the formula for now. Pick any 2 points. So I'm going to take this one doesn't have any negatives and this one doesn't have any negatives, so I think those are the ones I'll work with. So x is 1, y is 4, and x is 0 and y is 6. I'm going to label these points x and y, point 1, point 2, and I'm going to plug them back into my formula here. Y sub 2 is 6 minus y sub 1 is 4. X sub 2 is 0 minus x sub 1, which is 1. I'll be really, really careful here. 6 positives and 4 negatives. I'll have 2 extra positives left over. Now, if I have 0 and a negative 1, that means I'm combining negative 1 with absolutely nothing. So if I don't add anything to negative 1, that's going to leave me with negative 1. Positive divided by a negative is a negative, so my slope is negative 2.